Hello, I'm Terssa Kassahun, a senior, double major, accounting and finance with a concentration logistic and international trade and matter. Also, I'm an elite ambassador for School of Business in Public Administration at the University of the District of Columbia. My research title is going to be Examining University Students' Multitasking Behavior with Online Learning. Before I start my presentation, I'd like to give an acknowledgement. This research has been supported by the National Science Foundation grant. Outline of my presentation, I'm going to talk about my motivation for this research, abstract, introduction, literature review, conceptual framework, methodology, discussion and implication, and lastly, my reference page. My motivation for this research, of course, the COVID pandemic. In the COVID pandemic, we were since March 2020, we were told to stay at home, stay safe. And I found myself doing multiple activities at the same time while learning. And I was wondering how the multitasking has an impact in my academic performance. And I want to do more research on multitasking. That's my motivation for this research. This is my abstract. So this research examined university and multitasking behavior in online courses and investigate the significant indicator of multitasking in online environment. Also, I conduct focus group about multitasking behaviors, their self-efficacy for self-directed learning, and their multitasking tendency or behavior. In the current COVID situation, a lot of inputs is given on online learning and online instruction design. Kind of came up with three objectives. For my first objective is exploring online learning environment, internet addiction with student demographic related to multitasking. And I'm going to examine and define self-efficacy for self-directed learning. Lastly, I will define how is multitasking affecting the academic performance. My keywords are multitasking or multitasking behavior tendency, self-efficacy for self-directed learning, and internet addiction, student demographic, and online environment and academic performance. In the current COVID situation, all higher education has been relocated to online learning or remote learning. However, before this situation, online learning is varying, expanding rapidly because it's easy to access. One interesting thing that I found, even if everything is online, the student has to have academic motivation to be successful in learning. Nevertheless, if the student doesn't have lack of motivation, can affect the student academic success and performance in educational setting. Research has shown if the student has higher academic motivation, can have better outcome in retention of knowledge. My literature review, so multitasking is doing more than one activity at the same time. So it could be, for example, a student can listen to the professor while he's teaching it online, also can surf the internet, text message, or replying the email. Self-efficacy, and one of the significant indicator of multitasking is internet addiction. And in the passages that undergraduate university student multitask tendency may increase in online learning environment. And self-efficacy is when a person has confidence in his or her ability to arrange and exclude a multitasking tendency for academic success. And online learning environment, self-regulated learning is significant because if the student can get quickly distracted due to the easy access of the internet, when we combine self-efficacy and self-regulated learning, we get this definition by Lepard says, an individual believe in their capability to proactively regulate their behavior or necessarily for academic success. So that means if the student is not using their self-efficacy for self-regulated learning, they'll not be more successful. This conceptual framework that I came up with. So the first hypothesis is multitasking in online environment leads to negative academic performance. Multitasking is an avoidable behavior in online courses. Some researchers have shown that multitasking is related to lower academic performance. Okay, the first hypothesis is when multitasking giving negative impact in academic performance. The second hypothesis is self-efficacy for self-regulatory learning having positive impact to academic performance. So self-efficacy for self-regulatory learning behavior plays a vital role in an online learning environment. A study finds that students who use self-regulatory learning strategies could be setting academic goals and effectively controlling their time, structuring their outline, have a better performance in their academic performance. That's the second hypothesis. The third hypothesis is, yeah, we know multitasking behavior can affect academic performance in a negative way, but what about if we add self-efficacy for self-directed learning? It could lead to a positive academic performance. And there's a few studies suggest that multitasking can help us to perform better, but there isn't a lot of study. The methodology I used is focus group methodology, which was utilized to garnish responses for students currently engaged in online learning environment or remote learning environment due to the COVID global pandemic. I have responded in feedbacks from 5 students how multitasking and self-efficacy for self-directed learning, internet addiction, and their overall academic performance is affected by multitasking. Their name is hidden due to the privacy reason. And due to the time constraint, I'm just going to read the first student who mentioned she's a female, age 19 years old, junior, pursuing biology at UD. She said, I love multitasking because it gives me the ability to perform multiple tasks at the same time, include listening to faculty videos and lecture, doing things at home, listening to music on Alexa, and performing as a course. However, I realized that too much multitasking often leads me to ignoring my quizzes, assignments in online courses, and I'm working toward it. I'm trying to apply time management in addition to multitasking to ensure that my grades remain inconsistent across all my classes. She kind of giving the hypothesis is kind of be true. And the second student is a male, age 35, senior, pursuing management at UDC. He said he hates multitasking because it takes away a lot of time in non-essential important things via important ones. Since I'm not good at with time management and self-regulator, I'm trying to accomplish one thing at a time and focusing on my most important academic priority first. He basically saying, okay, if I'm multitasking now, it's gonna lower my GPA, so it's gonna affect my academic performance. He's proving hypothesis one. And the third student, she's a female, age 29 years old, senior, pursuing accounting. She loves multitasking and it gives her the ability to focus on her kids and school at the same time. However, she have to prioritize things using self-directed learning. I'm not gonna read the fourth one. So when we come to discussion and implication, yes, in online learning environment, undergraduate university students are often multitask. And research suggests that multitasking during online learning negatively disturb learning and academic performance. And also other research suggests that in online learning environment, when university students effectively managing their time by outlining and tracking and controlling their learning, obtain higher grades. The self-efficacy for self-regulatory learning impact university student academic performance in a positive way. And if you study finds performing different activities could progress mentally, adapting them, empowering capability effectively and ability to be successful in online learning. Those kind of interesting to find because I always assume that multitasking has a negative impact in academic performance, but if it is regulated by self-efficacy for self-regulated learning, it can have a positive impact. And also the other interesting things I found, women multitask higher than men and younger students multitask higher than older students. is my reference page. Thanks so much for listening to me. If you have any question, please feel free to reach out to me, Terssa, Kassahun at udc.org, and please stay safe.